Season 19 brought with it a craftable Stasis linear fusion rifle. A lot of people know that Stasis is considered a valuable DPS weapon element due to the easy way to benefit from Fontamite. But what if I told you that isn't even the best part of the gun? Let's take a look at a breakdown of this new weapon and explore just what makes it an incredible DPS choice. I did a lot of tests on this weapon, but I tried to cut all the fat out and make it as simple as I can. I hope you guys enjoy it, and if there's anything else you can think of that needs to be tested this season, be sure to let me know and I'll try to get a video out. But enough of that. For those unaware, the weapon we are talking about is called Fire and Forget. It's an aggressive frame, which is typically seen as an inferior weapon type due to its low rate of fire caused by the burst. Well, this weapon takes that weakness and turns it into an incredibly powerful benefit. When looking at the perks this gun can roll with, it leaves a lot to be desired at first glance. But when you start putting everything together, it's actually exactly the set of perks you would want with a weapon like this. Keep in mind this is craftable, so eventually you'll be able to pick up everything you desire. We'll start with the battery perks, since they actually matter on linear fusion rifles. Enhanced battery is generally speaking the best choice, as it increases your mag size, which means less reloading. This is compounded by the fact that this weapon is actually a Veist foundry weapon, granting us access to Veist Stinger. You can make arguments for accelerated coils for burst DPS, and liquid coils for long-term damage, but overall, enhanced battery is just the better choice. Next up, our first major perk in the third column. Like I said, at first glance these perks feel underwhelming. Rangefinder is unnecessary on this weapon. Surplus doesn't matter. Killing Wind is like a bad joke. Headstone is better left on a primary, and Outlaw doesn't fit the role of DPS. This leaves us with Field Prep. You may be thinking the lack of triple tap automatically makes this weapon bad, but due to how this weapon behaves, Field Prep is actually the exact perk we need. Remember, this perk gives you more ammo in reserves, which is going to be necessary once we break down how this weapon works. For our second major perk, in the fourth column, there's a few solid damage boosting perks, but you'll notice again the key perk is missing, that being Firing Line. The best options we have would be Frenzy for a 15% damage buff when in combat for a long time, Focused Fury for a 20% damage buff when hitting half the mag worth of headshots, and Vorpal for 10% extra damage at all times. I'd lean towards Focused Fury or Frenzy, whichever one you like best. Personally, I like Focused Fury better, and the headshots won't be that big of an issue in most boss DPS situations. Lastly, make sure you swap to Veist Stinger. It's the whole reason we use this weapon. Speaking of which, let's explain why Veist Stinger is better on this weapon than the other precision frame linear fusion rifles. I did a video a few weeks back testing Veist Stinger on every weapon. I came to the conclusion that each archetype has a different proc rate, and linears ended up with a 10% proc chance, with that 4-second cooldown. 10% is already a large chance to reload for free, but the 4-second cooldown somewhat held back the perk, since you could fire almost an entire mag before you can have a chance of proccing it again. So how does this play into aggressive frames? Well, first of all, since the fire rate is slower on aggressive frames, that means we don't waste as much time within that 4-second cooldown where we can't have another reload proc. Secondly, this weapon fires in bursts of 3. After hiding myself back in the Cabal base, shooting at these poor guys' shield, I came to the conclusion that each shot from the burst has a chance to proc Veist Stinger. This means each burst gives you 3 chances to proc. Then I took all the shots I fired, compared them to the times it procced, and came back with a 24% chance to proc per burst, which is actually kind of insane. When we look at the numbers, it's actually possible that I was unlucky, and that the real chance was 27.1%. I say this because it's most likely that each shot has a 10% chance to proc, just like normal linear fusion rifles. But then when you take that 10% chance on a 3-round burst, that's where you get the 27.1% chance to proc. This means, with a 5-round mag, you have a 79% chance of proccing Veist Stinger. And with a 6-round mag, which I recommend, you have an 85% chance of proccing. This is far better than the 41% and 47% chance of proccing it with a 5 or 6 round normal precision linear fusion rifle. And you're going to be able to feel the difference. But, as stated before, this gun doesn't come with triple tap. which comes close to making this entire thing irrelevant. But the only thing that makes this gun still worth a pick is that it rolls with field prep, which, as I said, gives you more ammo in reserves. This means even though you don't generate ammo from thin air like triple tap, you just straight up have more ammo. This is going to offset the loss of triple tap a little bit. That leaves the only benefit being that triple tap will also give you reloads. But as we discussed earlier, you already have a massive advantage by using an aggressive frame with Veist Stinger. I'm not going to pretend like I can write a simulator and figure out which one's the absolute winner out of 1,000 DPS phases, but I'm going to say I believe it's extremely competitive. The only thing that this weapon definitely loses out on is the loss of firing line, which definitely sucks. But then you have to consider that aggressive frames do more damage overall per burst versus a shot from precision frame. I took the weapons to Kali to get a better understanding of what we're dealing with. Both weapons have the same masterwork and battery perk to remove any issues with damage numbers. Although the fire and forget did have Vorpal, but I did the magic math to remove that. So with a headshot from a normal linear, you get about 35k damage. Then, after doing the math for the damage of an aggressive frame, it's about 50k damage. Now, we're not going to take into consideration reloads or perks proccing because I think it's safe to say these weapons are pretty close in terms of auto reloads. Therefore, I'm going to just do a single mag dump and time both. With 5 shots from a normal linear, we get 4.15 seconds. With 5 shots from an aggressive, we get 6.13 seconds. Doing some math, this puts our DPS at 42,000 for a normal linear and 40,000 for an aggressive. This means that aggressives are already doing less DPS than precision frames by about 3.6%, which is incredibly close. This is so close that it boils down to using whatever you have or want. Of course, the fact that this weapon is Stasis means if you didn't get a Reed's Regret, then you should be using Fire and Forget anytime you're going to use Stasis Wells. All in all, other than the fact that it's Stasis, the only real benefit this weapon will provide is the fact that if you use field prep, you'll have amazing ammo economy. When wearing double ammo reserves, using 23 shots from a normal linear with triple tap will leave you with 7 shots remaining if you got perfect triple tap procs, meaning you never lost a proc to Veist Stinger. With an aggressive frame, however, you'll only use 15 shots in the same amount of time, deal 6% less damage, and still have 18 shots left with normal field prep. I couldn't find the numbers on enhanced, but I assume it to be even more. Like I said earlier, I did test every Veist weapon last season, and concluded that each weapon has a different proc rate. If you'd like to look at the video, it's extremely short and on screen now. If not, then thanks for watching. Until next time, see you out there.